Okay, we are ready. Let's start. Let's continue with our theoretical presentation. Klaus will try tonight to provoke all of us with the interpretation of new rules, starting in 2 days. And I'm sure that every one of us will be a little bit provoked and have a small role in discussion. Klaus.
Okay, thank you so much. So, welcome to this theoretical part. It's about the new rules from 1st of July, but this is not true, because already there's the World Championship of the junior girls running in Slovenia, and they play with these new rules, so it's not absolutely new. And I have some own thoughts, some own ideas. I don't want to explain those rules only in short words, but I want to give a little bit of my personal view, very personal, and maybe it's not meant as a provocation, but maybe you want to give your point of view, and I would appreciate that very much, because then we come into discussion. Okay, now the 4 new rules we have. First of all, it's the new rule of passive play. The second one we have is about the throw area. I think this is the most biggest change we have. Third one is about hitting the goalkeeper's head with the ball. And the last one, which is not discussed so often, is the new ball sizes we have.
New balls.
Okay, so now let's go through these different new rules. I have at the beginning a little bit video material, just to give some impression. Let's see. Okay, the first one is the passive play. So the change is now that only 4 passes allowed after the warning signal. Till now it was 6 passes, now we have 4 passes altogether, and the idea of that new rule is to make the game a little bit faster, or to avoid this not so attractive faces when warning signal is given and the teams are extending this situation with 5 passes, free throw, 1 more pass, and so on and so on. So this is the basic idea. Okay, now when you have a look at this first scene, you will see maybe a different problem in our passive play rule. Okay, you can see it from the beginning, and what you see is coming to the front court, exchange, specialist, people going out, weak player coming in, heavy back player in the backward position, bouncing the ball, touching the ball, give bounce pass to the next position, then walking handball, change the positions, and then suddenly one player starts 1, 2, and third player is free and shooting. So this was a game from German Bundesliga. Let's work in Rhein-Neckar-Löwen. I was observing this game, and a very interesting moment was that it was directly after World Championship of Ladies in Germany. And I was with that World Championship of the Ladies, and 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks, I saw high-speed handball. And the final weekend I was talking to the German referees, Schulze Tönnies. I And I was asking them, oh, when will you continue refereeing in whistling in Bundesliga? And they said, on Thursday in Mannheim, which is close to my place. And I said, okay, I'd like to go there. They said, come with me, or come with us, it's no problem. And then I saw this game. I was in the hall, and it was boring, because they were walking to the front, they were always bouncing the ball, they were doing nothing for a very long time, and only in a very short phase, they created the goal shot situation. And I was wondering why the referees didn't raise the arm. And in this moment, I think it's very obvious to see that the attack is doing nothing because the defense is doing nothing too. Defense is just waiting. Okay, but nothing happens in that time. And you see how many times they lose in that moment. And then finally, now the ball is coming back. Now, this is the moment they attack. So, I think that this is the big problem in our passive play rule. It means, how long does it take till the referees give the warning signal? Different example here. You see now girls from Denmark, red, and you see the white defense from Russia, more and more open. And they cannot come to the goal. They're playing to the sideline. They have no idea of attacking. Defense is very active in that moment. But you cannot see the referees. I'm sorry for the video, but I can prove they didn't raise the arm. Why not? Active defense, passive attack, but no whistle. And you see how the defense is doing that in a very nice and active way. And the referees observe and observe. You can see the time running. It's more than 20 seconds without anything. Perfect defense, but no benefit for the defense from the referees. And the final example is from Women World Championship 250 in Denmark. Denmark in attack. Hungary in defense. And you can see how Hungarian defense is doing the job. Now finally, a little bit of luck. Denmark comes to a goal shot situation. And if you see at the end, you will see the referee beside the goal, raising the arm. The arm is already up. But finally, now, after this small contact, free throw for Danish team. Okay, problem is there are 12,000 guys from Denmark in that hall. Okay, in another hall it would be the same for the home team. But the problem is, how do the referees work with this warning signal? The problem, from my point of view, is not the number of passes we allow. The problem is, when does the warning signal come and when do they make the decision? But still, they had the chance after 2, after 4, after 6 games to whistle passive play directly. This was possible all the time. So, from my point of view, big problem here, reading the game. When do the referees show the warning signal? This, from my point of view, would help our game much more. Referees that have a better understanding of the game instead of reducing the number of passes. I have one thing not in this, one information not in this presentation. The number of attacks in men handball was going down in the last year in international championships. We had a maximum number of around 60 attacks per team per match, 2011 Sweden, and in 2019 Germany-Denmark World Championship of the men, it was only 50, which means 10 attacks per team per match less, which means in one game 20 attacks less, 10 for one and 10 for the other team. So where is the time? The time is, you see it in the first video, when they easily walk in front, when they circulate the ball without doing nothing, when they are passive. And these are the situations the referees must realize and give the warning signal. This would be better from my point of view. Another aspect is what will happen if only 4 passes are allowed. From my experience, or not experience, but from my imagination, I would say, the defense will create more free throws. Because after 2 passes, making a foul means free throw execution and only 2 passes, which gives enormous pressure to the team in attack. And on the other side, attackers must find solutions attacking with only a few passes, which was the topic we saw in the afternoon session from Dragan. Maybe after a free throw, 2, maximum 3 passes, and then find a solution for a quite good goal shot situation. This will be the demand to the attacking team in that moment. So, but from my point of view, the biggest problem is still when to raise the arm to give the full warning signal, and this problem was not solved with that new rule. Okay. Now, second one is the throw-off. This is something which is really quite difficult because we now have in future a so-called throw-off area. This area is a circle in the center with 4 meters diameter, and to execute the free throw, to enforce the referees to whistle, the player and the ball must be inside this area. So, IHF gave some teaching material, videos to this. You will see one, very short. The others, I said it already to Draga, and I think it would be very helpful to
I will share the link.
Share everything. It's a WeTransfer, so you can share it to everyone. Okay. So, problem is here that the defenders, they cannot enter this area, so that's true, here. But on the other side, they don't have to keep the normal distance. Normal distance is 3 meters, but this is not even in that new rule. In the new rule, it's, let's say, similar like in basketball. In basketball, they have this idea that the player and the space over the player, like in a tube, this is something the defense cannot interfere. And in this throw-off area, it's the same. You have this area, this circle, and over this area is no interference from the defense allowed. So, for instance, standing close to that area and blocking inside is not possible. Blocking outside is possible. Even if the defender, if the attacker with the ball is very close to me. Only I have to keep this 3 meter distance. So, and this will create some very special situations. The first 3 from one video you will see now. So, this is the style they produce this material, and then they have different scenes, and the first scene is here, and in the normal speed you should think everything is okay, but you can see now, the problem is the player is inside on the ground, but the ball is outside. So in that moment, referees cannot whistle. They have to wait till player and ball are inside this area. Now, ball is inside, player is inside, contact to the ground, perfect. That's okay. Now, referees should whistle. Okay, and this is always the way it is prescribed. So, from my point of view, this will be very difficult for the referees to make this decision, for sure. Okay, now, especially here is, you see, the player is in the air. And they say he's using a shot from running, more or less, and for a certain moment, it can be happen that the legs are in the air. And they say using this technique is okay, but on the other side, jumping is not okay. This will be tricky too. Okay, this is correct now. Perfect. So in that moment, ball and player inside, feet are touching the ground, at least one. And from this, referees have to whistle and execution of the throw-off is given. Okay. So this is a good example. And we have a last one. And this is only one of the problems that can appear more. That now player is stepping outside again. So in the slow motion you can see, now it's okay. But if he touches the court in front here, before the ball releases the hand, this is wrong execution of free throw. And the decision of the referees is change the ball possession now to the other team, because free throw off was not executed in the correct way.
What about the other players? Like the wings? Usually they stay in the one line. Now,
not usually. They
have to stay
behind the line. Perfect. Thank you very much. Still the same like before. This is the same rules like
just
before.
that people can go and start behind the line and all other need to stay.
They have to wait. Yes. And this is the thing which I again would like to criticize a little bit, that in this throw-off, it's different for the referees, first of all, to find the right moment to whistle. Second is, it's difficult for the attacker with the ball to be inside that area, to have the contact on the ground and to execute after the whistle is given. And the next is, it's difficult for the defenders too, because they must take care not to go across that area, it's not allowed, and on the other side, not interfere inside that area. And the last point is that still players without ball, and normally it's the weak players, they must wait for the whistle, and after the whistle, they can start for the fast break. So. And I'm not sure, I'm waiting for a student in the university to make a research, some scientific research. Count the numbers of fast throw-off in the last Olympic Games, men and women. Count the number of how many throw-offs had been corrected. Count the number of how many had been corrected because the player was not in the correct position with the ball, or corrected because of player without ball was over the line. My personal feeling is more problems with player over the line in that moment. And still this problem is not solved with that new rule. But from my expectation, even more problems appear in that situation. And they want to make it dynamic. I don't think it will work. I'm really a little bit scared about that because of the different situations that can happen. Okay, now, number 3 is hitting the goalkeeper's head with the ball. This, in general, is a very good idea because, as we all know, hitting the goalkeeper in the head is something which hurts on one side. On the other side, it's something with long distance damage for the brain is possible, so we shouldn't have these situations in handball. And up till now, it was possible to punish a player if the situation was from a free throw or from 7 meters from a penalty. Now they have to, the referees have to give or have to use the definition of an open or free situation, which means player is not in attack, is not interfered from defense, has a free shot out of the game situation, and then hitting the goalkeeper's head with the ball. So this is something which is not so easy in that moment. And second is, this is a very important criteria, goalkeeper should not move. So if they make a move in that direction, okay, it's their problem. If they stand and receive the ball to their head, then it's the problem of the player. And this, from my point of view, is something which is really almost impossible to observe for the referees. We have the most situations of this kind from the wing positions. Okay, from the wing positions, yeah?
I have one question. Why the goalkeepers don't wear helmet?
I don't know.
It's interfering.
Maybe it's a problem of vision in that moment. I don't know. Normally the
Qualities, maybe it's also very strong.
Yeah. Might be a solution. Yeah. But as we don't have helmets, we have this rule. Okay. So the situation, this shooting the goalkeeper's head, are happening the most are from the wing positions. Now imagine the situation: left wing is shooting, and goal referee is standing on that side. Court referee from the other side will never be able to observe this situation because too many people are standing in between. Now, if you're a goal referee and left wing is jumping in, first you have to observe touching the line or not. Second, you have to observe contact to the hand from the defender or not. Then you have to see how the ball is leaving the hand. And then from here to here, you have to switch to observe the goalkeeper and see whether this was moving or not. And you're so close to that situation that you really have to change your observation from one point to the other. From my point of view, this is not possible for the referees. It would be easier if you would be far away and have the scene in one. But if you are closer, this is almost impossible to see. So, observe the 6-meter line, observe the throwing arm, observe if the goalkeeper has not moved. This altogether is almost impossible. And the consequence at the end will be, in international tournaments, referees will use the video proof if available.
Or put 4 referee. Or make 4 referee.
Make one. Yeah. Okay. We have one question from our colleagues.
It's a red card, automatically red card.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay, like in the penalty.
Yeah.
And the second what you explained from the wing, it depends on the angle. Usually, when goalkeeper hit the ball on the head, it's when the wing player don't open his angle and is shooting from straight, and that's it. And
yeah.
usually, this is the sign that say
Most dangerous situation. Yeah, that's true.
Only penalties.
It's 2 minutes. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Yeah. So, but the video proof will give the referees the only chance to see that, and this is something we will find it in the conclusion afterwards, which is just possible only if video proof is available on one side, and this is depending on the level of the matches. So it will be continental matches, European Champions League, or European Championships, and so on.
so. It's 2 minutes suspension or
Yes, 2
2 minutes.
2. My mistake. Okay. Now the last one is the new ball sizes, and now in handball we have altogether 7 different sizes. So sounds strange, but we have size 0, which is for mini handball. Then we have size 1, with and without glue. So if you take the with and without glue, yes. If you take the one without glue, it's a little bit smaller, and a little bit not so heavy. So this is the difference always between those two variations, with and without glue. And the same we have for the size 2, and the same we have for the size 3. So these are 7 different sizes now we have. And I think this is a little bit crazy. It's really a little bit crazy.
The National Federation have the right to decide which ball to use.
Yeah. Okay. So, and my idea to this is First of all, the problem was that IHF was for a certain time trying with Molten together, which is the ball supplier for the IHF, to develop a resin-free ball. And it was not possible. It's not working. The players need the special feeling with the resin, and if they don't have this, it's not working. Those balls that were developed, they were giving a certain feeling for a special time only, let's say 10, 12 minutes, then you must change the ball. So you needed 5, 6 balls for one game to always have a quite sticky ball. It's a disaster. So it was not working. On the other side, my first idea was, when I heard this is the so-called molten rule, because the official supplier would, or might have been the one first with the information and the first on the market with the new sizes, for sure. But all the others will follow, no problem. Okay, so these were the 4 different rules we had, and now the question is, what is the conclusion out of that? And there are some points, from my point of view, which are interesting in that moment. First of all, in the general development, we have more and difficult rules for the referees. So it's true that this throw-off rule will make it, for sure, more difficult for the referees, different aspects to observe, player and ball inside, other players keeping the distance, when to whistle, and so on and so on. From my point of view, it's getting more difficult. Second is that the existing problems have not been solved. So, especially with the passive play, when does the warning signal come? And for the throw-off, players moving in front court too early. These are the big problems we had before, and these problems are not solved with these rules. And the last point, which is still something in the development of our game, is that the gap between professional and amateur handball is going up more and more. So we had this some years ago, when there was the special rule that injured players go out for 3 attacks. Some national federations, they said, no, we don't do this. It was free. In official matches on IHF or continental level, this was compulsory, but some federations, they didn't do that. In national leagues, in normal handball, let's say. And again, here we have the same. The question is, for instance, in your hall, is there a marking for this 4-meter circle? If you don't have this marking, forget the throw-off rule, like we discussed it here. So, in matches from IHF, EHF, and other continental federations, it's compulsory to have this. And so the gap between, let's say, normal handball and professional handball is going up. Okay. Thank you very much. So, you wanted my ideas? Okay. Sorry.
Thank you. I have an idea about the passive game.
Yeah.
And I want to sign something with For me, passive game is if defense don't.
The pens are
What?
in front.
Yeah. If defense stay without doing nothing, no passing game. But if he holds the ball, I think that 9 meters, the same. If we make a line 50 meters or 60, straight or like this, each time that if you make the second video with the girls, the Russian girls, the attack makes step back. This is clear passing. So if the ball after go here and after back, it's clear signal, this is passing game. The referee is obligated to sign the game in 4 passes. And after 1 foul, you have only 1 pass. And after, only shoot. no, foul. So that again will be more fast. And if in this regulation stop, make changes in defense, because my opinion is that it's very big problem for handball.
Exchanging the players.
Yes.
Yes.
The only defender players, because I don't know in our country they don't like sit handball. The big defenders are like bulls or cow. And many times the coach say, you don't take the ball, you run fast, out. This is not sport. Same.
Take the position. No, you can take the position because we are not so far away. So, first idea as a suggestion is no more passive play rule. Why not give this rule away?
Sorry, because fans want to see change of the score. In basketball, if you have 5 minutes, 3 minutes and the score is 10 points different, you don't know who win. In handball, 3 minutes, 5 goals, you know that
It's the problem, yes, for sure. Yeah.
And the other problem that all the, I don't know, the money in handball it's not few. Little money.
Yeah. Okay.
We must.
So we'll see, we are not far away. Okay? So, first of all, just think about no more passive play rule. Why? We must have active defense. What's the problem? So, this is the thing. It's difficult to imagine what will happen in that moment. But on the other side, since years, we are talking or we are discussing about football. Always the problem is in football, and there's no lady here so we can speak open, because ladies don't understand this rule. What is the biggest problem in football? Offside. So, and maybe some of you remember that some years ago in football they had a big change in rules. In the old time, it was player on the same height was offside. Now, then they changed, player of the same height is no offside anymore. What was the difference for the referees? Nothing. Because the referees must decide, is the attacker in front, on the same line, or behind? If he's behind, no offside. If he's in front, offside. If he's on the same line, okay, now different execution, or different decision, but the need to observe is the same. What would happen if you play football without offside? From my point of view, it would be a better game. Because if you see football now, you always see attack in numerical superiority, minority. Because always where the ball is, more defenders. So, and if the ball is moving to the other side, they are tactically and the defense, they are so good. Immediately more defenders on the new ball position. So it's difficult for the attackers because there's no space. If you take away offside, you can take a position in front of the goal, and the defender must come with you. So this will open the space in the center. Where's the problem? And I think the same is here. Why talk about 4 passes, 5 passes, 3 passes, and all this bullshit and wait to raise the arm? No more rule like this. We want active defense, but we want the attackers to cross the center line within 10 seconds. I said 10, maybe we can discuss about this, but in 10 seconds you have to be in the front court. And then, this is the same that you said, the ball never goes back. This is the same like basketball, if the ball is going back, you lose it.
What about cross?
Sorry?
What about cross? If someone will cross, you give the ball to the back. If you cross in someone.
If you cross in your own half, this is passive. You don't make it. Maybe you remember the final of the European Championship 2018. It was the final between Spain and Sweden. Sweden was leading 2 goals at half time. And after 16 minutes in second half, Spain was leading with 7 goals. Alex Dushebaev against Jim Gottfriedson, pushing him to the center line. And the pivot from Sweden was running in own half for this crossing with the center back player. And the referees don't raise the arm. Sorry, pivot, this is wrong direction. Goal is there. Why run in that direction? So, if the ball is on the back court, you lose, that's it. Okay? The ball never goes back, and no change of players for the attacking team if the ball is in the front court. That's nice. So then you have 10 seconds to exchange players. As a defending team, you can always exchange players, because then you take the risk for a short moment to have 1 player less. No problem. And side effect of that is, I think 7 against 6 will disappear. So make it easy. And stopping the time in attack is a problem. Like with the shot clock in basketball. But stopping the time to cross the center line, this should be possible. This should be possible. So this is one suggestion. The second one is, if you really want to speed up the game, throw off from the goalkeeper from the 4-meter line. So everybody must see that it was a goal. So referees whistle, goalkeeper go to the 4-meter line. This is the point. From there you execute. You have no more problems how the ball is coming to the center. You have no more problems whether somebody is too early on the other side or something like this, and you can speed up. You don't need to speed up, but you can speed up. And then, after whistle, 10 seconds, and then you must be on the front side. So, simple, easy, for sure not perfect. For sure not perfect. But I think this should be the way to think about rule development in future. Not to make it more complex, but to make it a little bit more simple. Okay. This was the final slide. The floor is open for every discussion.
In my opinion, with this, let's see the new rules, you give more power to the referee to fuck you.
What was the last word? I didn't understand.
No, the girl. No, Klaus, it's very clear.
Yeah.
Because with all this, yes, no, maybe, it's fuck you. Now they continue to fuck you now with this. Share more packets bigger to fuck you double. It's clear for me. It's clear.
Yes.
Fuck that.
I saw your PDF, and I really believe that if you show them about throw-off, this Bonaventura rules, that they will be surprised, and then there will be even much more discussion. Second one was to show me about defender standing, jumping, showing.
Yeah, so many different situations.
And we all remember this situation.
Well, because I was in Macedonia in this one seminar, we speak about these rules, and was one of the best arbiter from Macedonia, Slava, explained that it's new rules also. If some players make dribbling without hand up, he can whistle now in the new rules passive. And now it's the new rules, when he want referee, he can whistle passive. Not need for
Automatically?
automatic.
Yes, so
It's
That
not-
was still possible.
Yes.
That was all the time possible. All the time this was possible. Immediately, passive game, go. This is nothing new. But this is the problem. Sometimes we forgot the basic idea and we forgot the basic elements of the rules. Because when they introduced the 6 passes, everybody was thinking, oh, now they have 6 passes. And before 6 passes, it's not allowed to whistle. Sorry, this was a mistake. But the referees Sorry, they didn't do that. And this was the problem. Because then fighting with the coaches, fighting with the players, hey, we have one more pass. Sorry, but you played 3 passes in the wrong direction. So you want to have a 4th pass in the wrong direction? Sorry, no. And this is still the problem in reading and understanding the game. Yes. And for this, and this is not to blame anyone, but see the average age of the referees in international matches now. In Germany we have the same problem. For a long time, referees were growing older and older and older, and then they stepped out. And then the federation said, ooh, surprise, we don't have young referees now. Nobody's coming behind. And then they started to develop referees from very young age. They didn't play enough. They didn't have enough routine on the court as a player. And then they came up to 4th league, 3rd league, 2nd league, 24 years old. And some experienced player maybe coming down from the 1st league, 34 years. Okay, I tell you how to whistle. It's clear. So they don't have this understanding, they don't have this reading of the game, because they were not long enough on the court, and they were coming up too quick.
But you don't think to limit the time, it's better solution for exclude all this fucking shit. Because you know, with basketball, 24 seconds. You know, that's okay, you have the time, you check what you want to play. Why don't put 35, 40 seconds? You know? Why? This is not interesting.
No. Problem is, first of all, if you would use shot clock in handball, first, you must have installation on both sides of the goal, of the court, so that every team, attacking team and defending team, can see the clock.
The less money for the EHF.
First.
For the, you know, with the watches.
Second is, in basketball, no, wait.
Klaus, how much is possible to cost this?
Wait. Second is, in basketball, every foul stop the clock. Every foul stop the clock. So this is the biggest problem.
So one big problem is in basketball that you are limited with 5 personal fouls.
And the next is the limitation of the fouls. So, and you see what happens at the end after 4 passes, foul. So, in basketball, you can't do this. In basketball, if the shot clock is running down, maybe 4 seconds, try to push him into a position where he cannot have a good shot, but don't make the foul, because then they get additional seconds, first of all, and it will be more and more complex, and the duration of a handball game, you cannot calculate anymore if you have the clock like in basketball. It's difficult.
But there is something need to change. With this, I'm not sure this make it more attractive to the hand.
I don't know. But they tried this, or they made some tests with these new rules in some countries. Why not make other tests?
Yeah.
Why not?
I think that this discussion will never end, and I suggest that we just change the position and continue to discuss about this. Thank you so much.